Welcome back. Biases are tricky. Who wants to admit that they're biased? Having biases is natural. However, when those biases are not acknowledged or negatively impact others, that's when problems occur. This is especially true in the classroom. Let's take a look at some ways to recognize and avoid biases. All right, so we're going to jump right into our diversity series, recognizing and addressing biases. So we'll have an overview and a purpose, look at the types of biases and traits of them, recognizing and addressing them. We'll have means and strategies for doing so, and then we'll have some examples and some keys to remember. So the purpose, we want to understand bias, identify biases, learn strategies in order to promote equity. Okay, within the classroom. So we're looking at this from a classroom perspective. So we may not have all the, technical jargon in regards to the, psychological standpoint, but we're going to look at it through the lens of the classroom environment. So what is bias? It's a preference or prejudice, explicit or implicit, and it impacts decisions. So like I said in the intro, it's natural to have them. The problem occurs when they go unchecked, they go unrecognized, and subsequently they negatively impact other people. Okay. And as a classroom teacher, your biases has a vast impact simply because you're dealing with students. So when you have a biases as a classroom teacher, it can impact the students positively or negatively, because you can have bias towards, let's say you have bias towards, the young boys answering questions versus the young girls. So the boys are benefiting from your biases, but the girls are being negatively impacted, and vice versa. Say, you prefer short hair to long hair kids, and you think long hair shows that they're wild, so you only call on the short haired kids. Like, they're simple, but they can have such a big impact when you stop and think about it. Right? So why does addressing biases matter? It promotes equity. So by stopping and saying, okay, what is it that I do? Do I have biases? And if so, who is it impacting? And let me find a way to, offset that impact and remove that bias rather. It improves engagement and it builds relationships. So it promotes equity because I'm viewing each student as an individual person, and giving them the opportunity to participate, right? It improves engagement because now the group that you may have previously been biased towards, is now participating. Oh, you know what? She does recognize me. He does recognize me. And then it builds relationships. And with building relationships, that's another key way to address biases as well, because the more you get to know somebody, the more things you get to know about them, and the stronger your bond, those biases slowly get removed. So what are some types? You have cultural, think back to 9/11, right? There's no question that there was biases against Muslim or Islamic or Middle Eastern people. You can deny it all you want to, there was biases, okay? So there's cultural, you have racial. I'm a black man. Literally I'm a black man. I've experienced racial bias. Gender, I'm a man in a woman-dominated field, believe it or not. So I've received bias. Socioeconomic, you have language. I see this a lot, especially at the high school level. Student comes in, speaks a different language as their primary language. The assumption is, they don't know anything. No, they just don't know how to communicate it in English. And by ability, we see people with disabilities, we're like, So it's not that they don't occur, it's the ability as the educator to recognize it and make sure you're not negatively impacting your student population. So what are some of the key traits for addressing biases? Being reflective. We talked about this as far as the art of teaching. Stepping back and saying, okay, how did my lesson go today? Who did I call on? Who did I not call on? Who got on my nerves today? Why did they get on my nerves? Why do they get on my nerves all the time? Do I have a bias against this child? Being open-minded. So this is part of that self-awareness, that growth mindset where you're open-minded, like, okay, I can't let my ego get involved here. I have some biases. How can I address them? Being culturally responsive, we just talked about that. And then equity driven. I want to make sure all my kids have an equal opportunity for success in my classroom, so I need to address these biases. I'm going to say it again. Nobody is free from this, okay? From the top to the bottom. It's just what happens is as we improve in our craft, the good ones start to recognize it, and they take steps to remove it. They didn't walk in, oh, I don't see anything other than, quality students in my classroom. That's BS. You learn it over time, okay? I have to be candid in this one. You learn it over time because I don't want people overwhelmed like, oh, it's so much. No, take it step by step. Start by acknowledging it, recognizing it, and then you can take steps for addressing it. So what are some signs? Calling patterns. Do you call on the same kids over and over? Not just because they know the answer, but because you like them more. Lower expectations. Am I looking at certain kids and saying, well, I don't expect much from them anyway? Discipline gaps. For the same behaviors that are disruptive, am I saying, am I giving out different consequences simply because I like students more than others? This is a common one, the discipline gaps, because the straight A student who does something wrong is likely to receive a lighter punishment for the same behaviors. You can start there. And then stereotyping. These are signs of biases. So what are some considerations? Like I said, bias is natural. Its impact is greater than the intent. Oh, I didn't mean to be biased. Doesn't matter. That impact, that kid is never going to forget it. Okay. And then you have to have ongoing reflection. So how do you recognize it? You have self-reflection, data analysis, peer feedback. Maybe your colleagues, can help you out. And then student feedback. If you really want to know if you're biased, ask your students. They'll tell you. How do you address implicit bias? Equitable questioning. I may use a spin wheel, with all my kids' names on it. Boom, I use a random spin wheel. Or I give every kid a number. I roll the dice up front. Oh, it's a 5. Who's number 5? Boom, I'm calling on you. Randomizing when you call out for questions and responses. High expectations for all students. If you need a refresher on that, go ahead and check out the video. Inclusive material, making sure that the material is anti-racist, anti-bias, or at least addressing any concepts of bias within the text or instructional material. And then we have equitable questioning again. I put that twice because it's so simple to do. You can do it on a regular basis, randomizing questioning instead of just looking out into the crowd and seeing who you want to call on. So what are some instructional strategies we can use? We can differentiate instruction, include multiple perspectives, and again, allow students to have a voice. When the students have a voice, you remove, or you don't necessarily remove, let me take that back. You decrease the impact or the likelihood of biases because they are contributing to what it is that you're doing instructionally. So their voice is heard. So an unbiased classroom environment, it has inclusive norms, diverse visuals, sort of like this presentation. You have black, white, women, men, boys, girls, blah, 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 right? And respect identities, okay? When I was coming up, we didn't have all these, gender types. But as a present day instructor, I have to be mindful of that. That's something I had to get over. It's like, okay, that's what you identify. I respect it. I have to respect it. Okay, now that I respect it, I still have high expectations from you. I still expect you to perform no matter what. Okay, so you respect identities as well. So what are the benefits for a teacher? You have better relationship, improved teaching, growth, and when all that's happening, you have less disruptions. For the students, they have a sense of belonging. They have a sense of confidence because you recognize, or as the young folk, you see me and you accept me for who I am. And as a result of that confidence, you probably have more increased engagement. What are the school benefits? You have a more inclusive culture. You have better holistic outcomes, and you have community trust because they know that building is a safe place and their child is safe from these biases that may pervade in larger society. What's the impact on achievement? When we address biases, we can close gaps because now all of a sudden I have high expectations for everyone. I'm seeing them for who they are, strengths and weaknesses, no matter what, and we're going to help them improve on that. You have higher performance because, again, the sense of belonging, the confidence, and the engagement increase, so therefore my performance increases. And you may have better attendance. Maybe the kid isn't coming to school because they know the teacher doesn't like them, or the teacher doesn't, object to when the kids show bias. So they don't show up. So by addressing bias, you can improve attendance as well. So what are some instructional examples of removing bias from the classroom? You rotate participation, you have diverse books, flexible grouping, and you analyze data. Okay, you monitor participation, you challenge stereotypes, and equity in advanced courses. This is something that we're starting to see more, but if you've taught some of those advanced courses, it's not really what it was. So even in allowing more diverse populations into advanced courses, you still have to keep the same rigor, the same expectation. It's biased to just bring in, for example, a bunch of black males. Oh, they're in our AP classes, but you've watered down the curriculum because you don't expect them to be able to perform. That's biased. So it's not about just the enrollment, it's about the equity of the instruction as well. So systemic bias. So as a school, you can look at your policies, your resources, and ensuring that the curriculum is inclusive as well. So once you, as an individual teacher or individual teachers, can address it in your classroom, then you can step up to the next level. Or maybe simultaneously, you're saying, okay, we're going to do this in the classroom. We're going to address these biases in the classroom. Administrators, we need you to address them in regards to policies, resources, and curriculum. Equity begins with awareness and action. So I recognize it, and then I take a step, okay? So maybe this week, you're just focusing on recognizing it, becoming aware of your potential biases. Next week, you'll take some tangible actions in order to address the ones that you identify. Again, you're not going to solve this problem in a week. You're not going to solve this problem, in a semester. It's going to take a while. So take small steps, and the first step is to become aware of them, and then you take action. So what are some of the keys to remember? Bias can be unlearned. If you have them, you can unlearn them. Awareness is first, and equity is intentional. You have to be intentional about what you're doing. We hope that was helpful. Remember, biases are natural. Unchecked and unacknowledged biases are problematic. Working to eliminate them is a process, and now is the time to start that process. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time. We hope that